That 1% is the opportunity. It does take a little bit to build. A little bit of help goes a long way with YouTube.
One of the things I was thinking about was, because I've had, and I'm sure this has happened to you quite a bit, is that somebody comes and says, well, how do you do this? Right? When it comes to YouTube, like, how do I make money? So like you kind of walk through it. And then maybe weeks or a month later, they come back and they say, yeah, like, I think I want to give this a shot, and I get this question, which is, what are the odds that you think that I'm going to be able to make money, right? Like if I did this on my own, I always got to go through the kind of the same speech, like, yeah, like you could do it, but you got to think of it as like a long-term investment, like the same stuff that we talk about. And then one day I was like, because I didn't know the answer to this, so I was trying to search for it with the help of AI and 4 different AI programs and doing some research on my own, which was first, how many YouTube channels are there, right? So like going down that road and saying like, well, how many are out there? Because somebody wants to actually ask me the question, what is the probability? Well, let's start there. Like how many channels are there? So I found 2 different sources, actually multiple sources, but I narrowed it down to like 2 very credible sources. And it sounds like it's in the range of 100 million to 50 million, right? 50 million, that one was taken a couple of years ago. 100 million, that was more recent. And then I said, well, out of those, how many are actually monetized channels? And the answer that I had found, pretty congruent with both sources, very similar, which is around 3%. Right, so 3% of all channels. The 100 million was 3 million channels. Now let's say how many of those accounts actually went for monetization? Because some of them, they're just hobbies. They're just like, whatever, I'm a hobby. I don't care about money. Even if I get accepted into the program, I don't care.
Right.
The point is, it's very, very hard. So I took it a step further and I said, well, how many make a full-time income? Top 3% of YouTubers make $16,000 a year. Top 3%. So pulling from that 2 or 3 million accounts, right? The top 3% makes $16,000 a year.
Right.
So to make a full-time income, like even if it was 2%, right? Let's just assume for a second that it was 2% of the top creators. What are we talking about here? Are we talking about less than, 200,000 monetized channels,
that are making a full-time income.
That are making a full-time income.
I would
of
definitely
this.
guess less than 1%.
Right. So it's really hard to just do that, let alone do it by yourself. You have no experience, right? You're doing this for the first time.
Yeah.
So
I think it's also indicative of the amount of people who can sustain failure for a length of time, because that's what it's going to take.
Just persistence.
And it's actually good that it's only 1%. And the reason being, because if you are persistent, and really if you hook up with other people, like, what I mean, in some sort of way, even on forums, just even, for free or whatever, or just so you can have someone else that you can bounce stuff off of. And, oh, that was cool, I want to try that. It's so big to being able to keep going, because yeah, it took us a couple years. We were all doing other things.
Right.
So it's actually a good thing. It's a barrier of entry.
Yeah. Well, I think what I'm trying to allude to is the idea that, like, you got to remember that most people who have done this themselves or are making a full-time income, they did it by themselves, and they're most likely still by themselves in some way. Now imagine if you did it the right way. Right way in my mind means like I'm constantly taking education. I have a community that I'm connected to. I have a team that I'm building. I'm turning it into an actual business. I think that's where a lot of these guys, they fall off the plate, is because they don't have a business to sustain it. How many YouTubers are quitting, right? They have like these, because they don't have the support or infrastructure built around them.
It's a full-time job for numerous people.
Right. And there's multiple pieces, right? As you grow, right, and that's getting better. And we're seeing this every day, right? Where there's investors, creative investors are coming along, communities of creators are getting together.
There's accountants just for YouTubers.
They're just accountants just for YouTubers now, professionals just for content creators. 1 in 4 kids now want to be a YouTuber full time. They have YouTube courses now in college. This is not like, hey, this is a light thing that's coming along. It's going to be around for a long time.
Sure. And
it creates a lot of opportunity for people who right out of the gate understand what they're getting into. Set the right bar and the right expectations, right?
I just think that, like, it's scary to hear that 1%, or less are making any significant money.
Yeah.
But it is correct, because it takes a lot. I regard it as an opportunity, that 1% thing, because it's like, okay, so it's honestly 100%. If you had to do it, everyone now, can you make it full-time income? Full-time income, that's kind of relative.
Right.
So it's like, well, can you make 25 plus a year? Like probably with almost any channel you want to do it, you got to do it like a job, like
Right.
40 hours a week, like all day, every day.
Right.
Even more than that, really.
Yeah.
You got to get obsessed, and then yeah, you'll do it every time.
Yeah.
But who's got that wherewithal? Who's willing to say, yeah, okay, now that I'm making 1,000, I'm going to invest 250 of it into an editor. You know what I mean? Like scaling.
Yeah.
Who's willing to learn?
Right.
Who's
Evolve.
willing to be like, I don't know how to do this, so I'm going to go figure it out. And whatever mechanism that is that you choose to figure it out, just do it. There's plenty of information out there. There's plenty of other people in your space. That's a very interesting statistic. Somewhat startling, but at the same time, I honestly think it's correct for sure.
Well,
it's the opportunity.
Well, like you're saying though, like out of all those, how many of them have that same stuff, right? Like they had the idea of building a team and infrastructure. Probably 90% of them don't have that, right?
Well,
They're
they also
not
don't know
working
what
at
they
full-time.
need.
Right.
And you won't know until you start doing it and start looking it up and talking to people and trying it and being like, well, that didn't work. Well, what's wrong with it? Okay. As opposed to being like, this isn't working and I'm getting frustrated, so fuck it. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't. And that's why it's 1%.
Yeah.
It's indicative of that. So that's where the opportunity is. But, it does take a little bit to build, and you're going to need help along the way. There's just no possible way. I mean, not no possible way, but a little bit of help goes a long way with YouTube.
Yeah.
Even just like, oh, you had a video go off. Can you send some end screens to my channel just for a couple days? That could mean everything to your channel.
Right.
So just being involved with the other people in your niche, not competing with them, but, having some sort of,
cross promotion, collaboration.
Yeah, exactly. Because it only makes the niche stronger. It only makes everyone stronger type thing. So, which we've done. We've collaborated within our own niches many times, and it's only helped. It's never really hurt us.
No, I don't think so. I think
competition is going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
If your idea is decent, other people are coming in.
Well, and that's the other opportunity, right? This is so large, and new people are coming onto the platform every freaking day. There's so many users on YouTube, again, like one of the world's largest search engines, it just doesn't make sense, to not be a business and not be on there, right? I think that's the first thing. And the second thing is that if you're trying to make a go at this, you got to take it a lot more seriously than initially anticipated, right? This isn't like, well, okay, I'll play around with videos. It's like, yeah, you can do that, but don't be afraid to create multiple channels, which obviously we've done before too, right? Where we have feeder channels, right? And then it's like, oh, you learned something. And then it's like, okay, well, let's go play with that over here. And now all of a sudden we're getting an editor involved, a sound engineer involved. We're getting so I think as it becomes more mature and professional, like these things need that kind of attention, maintenance, and in the best way I mean that in the best way possible. I'm making it sound like it's so dark. It's not dark. It's just that's the reality. Like if you want to keep it going, you want to keep the plates spinning, you got to keep spinning them. You can't just, I made one video. Look at this. Like, I'm on top of the world. It'll just keep going like that. No, maybe, but probably
no,
not.
it's a business.
Yeah.
It's a business. And businesses are hard gambles and they take more work. They're more gambling and more work than anything.
Yeah.
They're more gambling than gambling against the casino.
Yeah.
You got worse odds making your business work. But the opportunity is there. If you can be one of those people that are getting full-time income, we did it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's honest to God, everyone says this and it's never true, or sometimes it's true, but it's true for us. If we can do it, anyone can do it. This can be done.
Yeah.
Just pick something and go, and don't stop, and figure it out, and maybe try over here. Gain contacts, gain networks, create, learn, figure new shit out, all that stuff, There's still so much opportunity. See, that's the way I look at it. It's just it's very true that while you're growing, you're going to learn this channel might not be the right channel. I don't want to kill this channel, but maybe create a sister channel. Like we've done numerous times now, where you create maybe this would be a better idea, but I don't want to just change course. So while I work on this one, I'll hire someone to do this one over here.
You're working on version 2.0, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're different, but they're similar. And when it's ready, you've just created a feeder channel from the first channel into the second one. So now that one's jump started. It's like jump starting a battery.
Yeah.
So you already have it. So you don't need to pivot the whole channel. You just create a sister channel, throw your end screens, basically some promotion from the channel you already started to that one. Immediately kick it off, rebrand it, and do whatever you're going to do. Yeah. That kind of stuff is just going to occur to you while you're doing YouTube. Be like, oh, you know what? This, or that. And you're going to start learning. You're going to create a few more channels. And you're going to also realize there's ceiling to channels. You're going to find that this channel only has a 5K ceiling, I think. No matter what I do, I can't see it making more than 5K a month.
Right.
It's been around for 3 years. Maybe it could, I guess, if we dumped a bunch of money into it. But like, you're over improving a house almost in that case.
Right.
So it's like, once you learn that, it's like, again, you don't want to kill it. You just want it to make you some money. So you got to figure out a way to, only spend $2,500 on it. So it'll make you $5. And then meanwhile, you can create a sister channel with a bigger ceiling, more sponsorship opportunity, direct your end screens. So like, you're definitely going to want to always keep learning, always be looking to grow. And, honestly, always putting money back into the company. Like, if you really want it to work, because, that's the hardest balance. That will always be the hardest balance to any business owner. Is how much do you take versus how much do you reinvest? Are the reinvestments going to pan out in a year, 2 years, 6 months? How long can you sustain without it? Do you need funding to bridge you in the meantime?
Right.
It's like a small business, but you can totally do it. And I think that the 1% being able to do it is the opportunity, not the scary part.
Well, and once you break that barrier, it's similar. I always use this reference all the time. It's like, Elon Musk, right? He's like, well, look at all these businesses that he runs. And it's like, yeah, like not just one amazing business, but several. It's like, well, how the hell did he do that? And it's like, yeah, he's an amazing person. And, but I also think it's like you're breaking the barrier. So once you've already accomplished it once, similar to YouTube, right? If you accomplish it once, you know what you did to get there. So now the next time you do it, it's not going to take you 12 months. It's going to take you 6 months, So like he started PayPal, right? Or whatever. He started X that turned into PayPal, right? And then he kept the .com, which eventually became X.com. But he started that, and then it was like, oh, Tesla. Like, let me fix this problem. Oh, by the way, SpaceX. Oh, wait, but Solar City. Like,
the whole world.
Yeah. So like, I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah,
like,
he's the best.
I'm not suggesting that everyone's going to be Elon Musk, but the point is, once you hit that bell curve and you figured things out, and now all of a sudden the second one's going to be much easier, much faster.
Especially when it's a true bell curve, and at the top is your peak, and it's going to go down or stay there, and you can't really break through it.
That ceiling, yeah.
What is next? And you see that with channels. It's like, okay,
Mr. Beast, another great example.
This has a clear ceiling.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's a great ceiling sometimes, and you're not upset with it, but it's still a ceiling. Yeah. How do you break through that? And that's where more channels and more ideas and different languages for those channels and all sorts of comes down the road, is that you're just continuously evolving based on the market and what it demands. It's an super entrepreneurial path, but definitely one that you can break through. Like, I would say it's a lot like poker tournaments. Like, it just really is. It's like, you got to put in a ton of work. It's all theoretical. You don't know what you're going to make when you make it. The ceiling's there. And then every now and then you hit a tournament, or you get a couple videos and they go viral, and those viral videos make you $50K a piece, when usually you're making that in a year on that channel.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden one hits it, and that's like winning a big tournament online. You're just like, you play all these $10 tournaments or $100 tournaments, and you make 500, 300, 180, 20, or 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then boom, you win one, and it's worth 25K.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the statistics are similar, right?
Yeah.
Like, how many poker players are there? How many of them make, $16,000 a year, about
5%
full-time
of tournaments
income?
you final table.
Yeah.
It's probably similar with YouTube. 5% of your videos go viral, or there's some weird viral-ish, some weird kind of thing.
Yeah.
They all theoretically make money, but just a little, and then one really, really hits it. And then that brings in more people and floods in more watches to your older videos. And now you're making more money. And, so that's always interesting to me. I always think of it like volume. It's just volume. Because with volume, you get better too.
Yeah, but also the volume thing, I think when you say that, some people automatically think like, I got to create, more videos for that same channel. And that's again why the feeder channel, like creating multiple channels, is incredibly valuable, because in our scenario with the network that we have, like we know that we're going to squeeze the most out of this video and let it go as long as possible and then post, the following week versus trying to rifle out 30, right? So it's, it gives you that flexibility where you won't have that if you're only stand still with one channel. It just does not give you the ability. For other people, you could break them down into smaller pieces of content and then, like that's fine too, right? Start there, right? If you have one channel, break them down to smaller pieces of content, repurpose that content, and then put them on TikTok. And you know what I mean? So like either way, it gives you more flexibility to test things out, and you're experiencing, you're learning, right? You're able to capture what's working, what's not.
Yeah. And I just want to repeat it because it bears repeating is that 1%, which is accurate, is the opportunity. That truly is the opportunity. That's why you can make a ton of money on YouTube, is because it's hard.
Yeah. It's, especially if you're by yourself. That's for damn sure.
Replacing the truth. I really can't hate it, but the lines are so creative. I don't mean to celebrate it, but it's cool. But look, the more that I deny it, adds the fuel to the fire. Your delusions I desire, but it's cool.